This is dedicated to all stroke survivors. I'm going to talk a lot about bioelectricity and how that works. That is a marker for how healthy we are. So when we have a component in our body, and our bodies are bioelectric machines, all of nature works on electricity. The ground is negatively charged, the bees visit the flowers, all depending on charges. They even scoop up pollen with electrostatic charges. All of nature works with electricity. It's not just our little gadgets that work with electricity, which, by the way, is quite toxic for us because AC and positive current is the opposite to what we run on. Our bodies run on DC and negative current. So they are the opposite to what we need. Now, we need this negative current because we are negative. We are minus, all our cells are reset at minus 70 millivolts. All the cells in our body. Actually, mitochondria are minus 170 millivolts.
So that's our
resting
state.
Yeah. We start from here. Now I like this because the Earth is negative and we are the Earth. But here we go. I'm going to move a muscle, a leg, and an electric charge is required to go down my nervous system, to pass through my nerves, to impulses from my brain and travel there. The charge rises, fires at a certain point, boom, I move my leg, and then it comes back down to rest, 0, which is minus 70 millivolts. Now, everything that happens in the body, it must reset. Sodium-potassium pumps must reset.
What are sodium-potassium pumps?
Good question. They're pumps inside every cell of our body that go against the gradient with electricity, and they pump sodium and potassium, both plus, in and out of cells. And what they do is, well, what they don't do is work so well after a stroke. They work 2.5 times harder after a stroke and struggle to pump to do their job, basically. That's where you get edema in your foot, huge amounts of liquid pooling up, because your sodium-potassium pumps can't pump them back up. And then you need to work your second heart, your calf muscles, to get that circulation going. But that's what edema is all about. Now here's the thing. Every illness, really, and especially if you've had a stroke, let's take muscles. Now I don't know if you know this, but to reset a muscle or to relax it takes a lot more energy than to activate and fire it. Hence, people who've had a stroke develop something called spasticity. I'll talk a little bit more about that with something called PIC, P-I-C. Now, my nerve is resting, or my muscle. I'm just saying it in simple terms. I fire it to move it, and the trouble is it doesn't come down to 0, to rest, to reset. So, and next time I fire it, it's not working very well, efficiently. It's not got enough negative voltage. It's not resetting. Hey, there's even a worse state where it's called PIC, as I just mentioned, and it's called persistent inward curve. Persistent inward current. Sorry, that current keeps coming in, it keeps firing, it keeps coming in.
But never goes down.
Never goes down. That's a PIC, P-I-C. That's spasticity. We're locked tight. Oh wow, if you've had a stroke and your muscles and your fascia are tight, PIC. There's even there's even more problems because of a lack of negative charge, reset charge, and it's called hyperpolarization. So you remember I said we fire something and it comes back down to rest. Well, what happens if it doesn't come back down to rest so much? And this happens as we age. Even without a stroke, we might start getting ill or something. Or if we've had a stroke, we might disconnect from our nerves, mitochondria, and all sorts of things happen. We lose our polarization very easily. So when something comes down to its minus 70 millivolt resting charge, it's polarized. Right? And the difference between switched off and switched on is nice and big. But when you lose polarization and you're switched on, here's the thing, the body even does something called hyperpolarization, where it lowers that threshold at which nerves will fire in order to protect us. There are all sorts of weird and wonderful ways our body is trying to protect us after stroke, but the fundamental problem is we've lost our negative charge. And people do lose their negative charge as they become unhealthy and ill and full of inflammation.
So with a negative charge, we would become polarized?
Yeah, that means polarized.
Okay.
The difference between plus and minus.
And minus, okay.
And we need to stay minus, minus, minus. That's why we Earth, Simonetta, because we're repolarizing, getting that resting state with negative charge every time I Earth. Or we're going in that direction. Now, there are many cancer. When you lose your negative charge and the cells are not healthy anymore, all the cells in the body are negatively charged, they should be, and we lose that negative charge and we run into disease and we run into cancer, or we run into spasticity because the nervous system and the muscles are not working like that. Our fascia, incredibly bioelectric, piezoelectric, it's we are electricity, we are electrical beings, and then we're chemical beings, but primarily we're electrical beings, and the Earth is negatively charged.
So if you are depolarized, anything like a muscle that could lock up because it is not polarized?
Yes, you've lost polarization. That's exactly right. And people become depolarized as we age. But if you're young and healthy and you run about and full of electrons from Earth or from various sources, then you're healthy. Because you might know that my channel is about all these themes, and it deals with health in a big way, because I'm on the search for health. I'm on, through necessity, I study night and day to understand the secrets of good health. Now, I've explained that we lose our charge because our stroke puts us through incredible trauma. Our mitochondria, these ponies that run about, these 40 quadrillion ponies that run about our body, giving us, making things work, they become disconnected, disjointed, they aimlessly, they lose connection with the brain. I personally have suffered something called deafferentation for 3 years.
What is it?
Well, it means I can move my muscles through my motor neuron cortex, but I cannot hear my sensory input and feedback that goes through my hypothalamus. I'm not hearing much from that side of my body, very, very little. So I've lived without a nervous system, for all purposes, a functional nervous system for 3 years. That was you know, like living on an alien planet. It was destabilizing. So that was a horrific condition to live in. And I know people who have a stroke live in a pickle, go through hard spots like that. So what can we do about the fact that we've lost polarization, we've lost a bit of negative charge, we've lost
connection with nature?
Yeah. Yes, because it's nature that supplies all this refueling, all this negative charge. I know nature is the best way to heal, because we evolved with nature, alongside with nature, connected to nature, and then we disconnected from nature. We disconnected from the light of the sun, which is huge, the way we have receptors for UV light in our eyes, and actually the resting membrane potentials of many cells depend on infrared radiation from the sun. You can also get it through a red light panel.
So light is like a must. Without light we cannot function.
Yes, and many people believe we get our energy from light. That's our energy supply. But here's the thing. Where do we get electrons? If I said electrons negatively charged and we need this negative charge, where do we get our electrons from? Simonetta, you might have a few ideas.
Well, the first thing I would do is to put my feet on the grass. So that's because the earth gives you electrons.
Because the earth is minus 300 millivolts. I've measured it with my multimeter. And when we touch, we transmit that electricity. It goes and it repolarizes.
We recharge.
We recharge.
Yeah, so that one would be my first port of call. And then I'm big on nutrition, so I would say that the foods we eat have some say into donating electrons.
Especially if they are good foods.
Yes, maybe organic food and also not processed food, but again, like nature intended. So
that's right. Cinnamon donates electrons.
Yeah, loads of
chocolate. You love chocolate.
Yes.
We love wine.
And dark green vegetable. Green dark vegetables.
Yeah.
And
leafy greens.
Yeah, so that is so important to have a good nutrition in your life.
Vitamin C donates electrons.
Vitamin C also.
2 electrons will donate. So, where to get electrons? I'm not saying what path or how to get your electrons. You do your research and find out what suits you. Can you do earthing? Does magnesium, we are magnesium, is our metabolic oil. I think it's clear that I worship magnesium and the Lord. What's that saying Giuseppe said? Enzo said, God...
Now there is magnesium comes second to God?
Yeah.
Something
God comes
on those
first,
lines.
and then there is magnesium.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've talked about sulfur on my channel. All the things I talk about on my channel are how to reach good health. So of course I talk about bioelectricity and how this works, resetting it to a low negative charge, because otherwise we become depolarized. What other things do I have on my channel?
Well, on your channel, you got a plethora of things. And,
everything, basically.
Yes, and everything is geared for, it's a record to help yourself, but also to help other people. and other stroke warriors,
Yeah.
survivors.
Yeah, that's
And,
it. If I can help someone else along the way,
Yeah.
great. If nobody wants to watch this clip or thinks, no, I'll stick to
I mean,
my...
there is nothing to lose in watching all the clips you've made because, you know, like you put so much research into it and so much thought. And you would have loved this, to have these resources when you had your stroke.
I would love to go back 3 years and
Yes.
say, hey dude, you know, you can think about remineralization. Put the minerals back into your body. You've
Yeah.
lost them all. The stress has dumped the minerals. Your body does that. They're used. Magnesium is essential for the ATPase and sodium-potassium pumps and things like this.
Yeah, and so
Consumed.
you got...
It's called magnesium burn rate.
Yes, so you got to quite a few clips on mineralization topics.
Exactly.
And describing how different minerals are relevant to good health and to the good functioning of your body and recovery.
Yeah, and we lose these minerals because we've had a stroke, we've been through stress. We are severely depleted in the goodies that our body needs, the building blocks we need to make amino acids and proteins, etc. And why does our gut fail, deteriorate and work badly after a stroke? Why? Why does our gut not work so well after stroke?
Because it's disconnected from, from your body.
Depolarized.
Depolarized, yes.
Depolarized. All the resting potentials don't reset well. And what do? We earth, and after we earth, I go to the toilet. And after all, every dog you see walking on the grass, the first thing they do is their business. That's because the repolarization of their gut stimulates activity, metabolism. Do you know the meaning of the word metabolism, Simonetta?
Well, could you enlighten me?
Well, I mentioned this the other day. It's change. Change. Well, I call magnesium metabolic oil. And if we don't have grounded resting potentials, deeply negative and healthy resting potentials, motility, it ain't going to flow. It's not going to come out. It's not going to work. We're not going to be able to break down the things we input. You've heard the saying, we are what we eat?
Yes. There is another one, isn't it? We are what we absorb.
If we don't absorb it, we can eat all the goodies on earth. If we don't absorb them, it's not going to help us.
And recently we've been discovering, I mean you discovered it and I followed you like a good monkey, with sulfur and MSM, and I can feel that my gut, which I got a leaky gut syndrome, is starting to heal. So, and it's not just because I got this condition, which is actually very common, that I take MSM, but because the sulfur is so important for your
a
good
building
health.
block.
Yeah.
And I talk about it to do with nerves and how sulfur helps us repolarize all the nerve activity, so they stop firing. Because I have a few nerves that boom every 3 days, this and that. I have problems. I had to look into sulfur. Anyway, the minerals it's a big theme through my site. Repolarizing into healthy negative voltages. That's the secret of health. What did I have I mentioned? Cancers to do with tinnitus. Did I mention I have tinnitus?
No, you haven't yet.
It's all to do with not resetting afterwards, and in fact, and so things are permanently half on, and you hear this bzzz, very, very. I can't. It's so high. I can't. A little all the time. Little bit, and you might notice it, you might filter it out, etc. But that's zero resting potentials that are not being reset. We're we're not polarized enough. So polarization is a difference between plus and minus. This is minus, this is plus. If you're starting to lose that because you can't reset, you depolarize, and things are half switched on all the time. You might have fibromyalgia, boom, 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 tingling. You might have that, and bad circulation.
Yes, that is what I wanted to ask you. What about circulation and blood pressure?
Blood pressure, the body keeps water in your system so to help things circulate. If you're disconnected from the earth, circulation goes to pot. You get boom, stroke, heart attack, whatever. You build up plaques. It's not good. If you repolarize things and get hold of some negative charge and everything, you create, see, our bodies are 99% water by molecular count. You start to form something called exclusion zone water, very, very pure, around in our vascular system. It helps it flow beautifully, and earthing itself increases blood flow. It increases the negative charge between the red blood cells, so-called zeta potential. So the suspension through a colloidal pipe, what it all means is the blood flows like nobody's business. Then if you give yourself the right building blocks in terms of sulfur, you can repair, with the help of cholesterol, your endothelium layer, the lining of your vessels, and hence, vroom, circulation goes beautifully. Otherwise, we accrue inflammation, we accrue problems and stress in our body, whether it's psychological or physiological, and that flow has...
It all becomes stagnant.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's all because what has created this slow flow and damaged walls? What's created it?
Well, being depolarized.
Exactly, because we've lost our negative charge. Simonetti, you're a wonderful assistant. I think you should...
I'm a pupil. I'm a student.
You're my advisor in life. I couldn't get by without you. Anyway, so hopefully this repolarizing is the key to solving everything. Now, I can't solve spasticity by saying, boom, I did 2 hours earthing, I'm all solved, I'm fixed up for life. No.
It needs a lot of discipline and routine.
Yes.
And so it's not a simple, simple solution for just one day or once.
There's no quick fix. And so after a stroke, we've lost a lot of natural ability that our body should have. There's a lot of disconnect in so many ways through the brain. It looks like our leg is not working, but it's all happening up here in the brain. And it's exactly the same, because our nervous system is a bunch of neurons connected, and our brain is a bunch of neurons connected.
And that's the reason why you are also now looking into the mind, the power of the mind, the heart coherence.
That's huge. So I did this clip on listening to music and training the mind to my heart, listening to my heart, the space, because the heart creates a big electromagnetic field that extends. It's very powerful. We actually have a heart-brain neurons pertaining to our heart that create an electric field, and if we can marry the mind and the heart together, let me just say the whole body will be following the heart, and you become more coherent, calmer, you go into alpha mode, you repair.
And you'll give yourself a chance for recovery.
You put your body in the ideal conditions in which to reset its membrane potentials and repolarize. And another thing is that in alpha mode, okay, I mentioned the brain works very well, but how was I able to study this? I do study night and day, and I listen to music, and I can't do that much else. I can go for walks, limited walks, with difficulty, but I can. Oh, I remember what I went. I went a bit blank before, because this is what I wanted to say, that in alpha mode you're able to learn so many things and read so many books that you need to be in low beta mode to absorb the information from books. And I didn't know that was happening, but that's what was happening. And I had to be in alpha mode because I had to learn solutions. I was in a bad way. I would go to bed and sleep for 1 hour for a whole month, I remember. All because my fascia and body, my muscles were so floppy. They had no muscle tonus. They had no tonus, and it would flop onto the bed and it would hurt so much because sensation started coming back to my torso first, and then it's only just made a certain amount of progress. Anyway, this thing about bioelectricity and needing a negative charge, I'd love to just say we need to charge, but so don't worry too much about the fact that we call it minus 70 millivolts resting state, or minus 170 for our mitochondria. We call it minus, but it just happens to be a charge that we can only get through nature. Water reacts like that. Water gets charged. We charge healthy water. You can structure water by leaving it in the sun, simply. And so air, clean air, breathe it, don't go inside. Light, what else do we get? The earth, connect to the earth, and water. We are made of water. So that's it.
That's it. That's
the
the
look,
message.
We've got a visitor. Hello, doggy.
Hi.
Hello, doggy. Hello, who's a good doggy? Okay.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's fine.
Okay, let's
cheerio.
wrap it up then.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
I'll say goodbye for the moment.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.
And good health.
Yeah.